Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was released on the 11th of November 2014, only about 3 months after the first FNAF game, and due to some exciting teasers released by Scott, was eagerly anticipated by fans, but it also had a lot to live up to. The first game had taken the internet by storm, and so it needed to be good, if not better than the first. Scott could have played safe, improved some things from the first, added some new characters maybe, and the game would have still done well. But Scott decided to throw away safety and go all in. You like doors? Too bad. Couldn't handle 4 animatronics? Now there's 11. You liked the design of the first 4 animatronics? They're gay now. FNAF 2 is my favourite FNAF game, and has been pretty much since it came out. Nothing has stopped the feeling I get when I play the game, and it was the only game I owned prior to this series from the FNAF franchise. Now I've played them all multiple times, and it's still my favourite, although some others have risen up to try and rival it. In FNAF 2, you play as Jeremy Fitzgerald, someone who is both important to the lore due to being the most likely Bite of 87 victim, and completely irrelevant due to being the most likely Bite of 87 victim. Your legs get chopped off at 12 AM, so you're stuck sitting in your office. One big problem, there's no doors. And one of the entrances is a gaping void of despair that likes to go... Good thing you recently schmurdered Freddy's cousin, so you have a spare Freddy mask to help disguise you. Careful though, as the Freddy mask only works on 9 out of the 11 cast members. So I'm not sure it will be that important. To deal with the other 2 animatronics, they each have a different mechanic so as to make sure you never get too comfortable inside that mask. Withered Foxy requires you to flash him when he appears in the hallway with your flashlight. Be careful though, as flashing him too much might cause you to drain all your battery, or attract the attention of a small child.
Hello?
And the last mechanic you need to worry about is the music box, which helps keep the puppet/marionette at bay. You simply have to go over to camera 10, the prize corner, hold down the wide music box button so it doesn't run out, and game end you. So those are your main office tools to deal with all the threats: mask, flashlight, music box. You'll slowly become familiar with these objects, specifically in that order most of the time. You obviously do have other cameras, and they're extremely cool to look through since you can also use your flashlight within the cameras to illuminate dark corners. And whilst each animatronic has its own set pathing through the cameras they do visit all have them doing a unique pose in, which is awesome to look at. So that's the premise of FNAF 2. Security guard, office, cameras, animatronics, don't die, mask, lights, music box, 6 AM happy times. Which sounds incredibly familiar to FNAF 1, except substituting doors for a mask. So why do I believe this is the perfect FNAF game when it's basically a cheap copy? 3 reasons. Obviously the gameplay of FNAF is divisive, especially in the early games. Some people love the office point and click vibes, other people find it boring, but regardless of whether you like it or not, it is a staple of the franchise, which means that Scott had to find other ways to spice up the gameplay. No matter how minor it may seem, every new change made a massive difference between games. But more importantly, every addition outside of the main gameplay had massive impact, such as the FNAF 2 death minigames. The death minigames, as the name suggests, can only occur after you have died during a night, and even then, it's only a chance to occur. There are 4 different minigames, each with a different goal you have to try and achieve. Take Cake has you play as Fredbear in Fredbear's Family Diner, and deliver cake to 6 kids, turning them from red to green. Whilst you party inside, there is a child who is locked outside crying. Eventually a car pulls up and a man steps out of the car, murdering the crying child and leaving behind his dead body. After a few seconds, the puppet jump scares you, as this is the puppet's origin story like we discovered in Pizzeria Simulator, except told in 8-bit form. During the minigame, robotic letters are garbled out in the background, spelling out "Save him." Which is incorrect and got retconned as the child possessing the puppet is a girl named Charlotte. Foxy Go 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 is the next minigame, and this time you play as Foxy, and all you have to do is run to the right into the next room when the game tells you to go go go. Once you arrive, children shout "Hooray!" and you reset back to 1, doing the run 2 more times, except on the 3rd and final run, purple guy is standing in the corner smiling horrifically, and you run into the other room to find the bodies of 5 dead children before Withered Foxy jumps out of the screen to end the minigame. This minigame isn't crazily relevant to the lore. I think it's more just meant to be a "look, dead kids, and that dude killed them" type of moment. But you could also interpret this as what happened at the first missing children incident. Give Cake, Give Life is the 3rd minigame, and this time you play as a reincarnated and possessed puppet/marionette, who has to walk to each of the 4 dead kids in the room and give them a gift. Once they'll have a gift, now you have to give them life by effectively helping the kids to possess each of the animatronic suits currently in the pizzeria. The robotic voices return, this time spelling out "help them" in the background. Once the last child has their animatronic head, you get jump scared by Withered Golden Freddy, and in the single frame before the scare, you can see a 5th body, confirming that there were 5 kids murdered and 5 kids currently possessing the suits. The last minigame has you play as a possessed Freddy this time, being led by the puppet throughout the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the location of the 2nd game. Throughout the pizzeria, you can see some of the animatronics and more dead bodies, but since you're playing as Freddy and the kids have already been given new life, these are actually the bodies of 5 more kids, presumably possessing the toy animatronics, as insinuated by this minigame and this phone call.
Hello? What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo?
The place is closed down, at least for a while. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right. Listen, just finish your shift.
Someone using suits, 5 dead kids, sounds like our favorite murderer. During the background of this minigame, you can hear the robotic voice spell out, "Save them." And once you reach one of the endings of this minigame, where the purple guy comes and attacks you, you get the message, "You can't." Because it's true. In this game, you were just a bystander, someone who had no involvement in the events as they happen around you. In the first 4 games, you never have direct control of the story, it keeps moving forward. And you can't do anything. You can't save the kids, you can't stop Springtrap from dismantling the animatronics, you can't stop your brother from yeeting you into the kiss of death. It's this realization that is another reason why I love FNAF, because yes, the gameplay can be repetitive and boring outside of the lore sections, but it's meant to be. You are just a guy going to work. It's meant to be boring like a regular job because all the interesting stuff happens without you. So the lore and the presentation of the lore is amazing, but you could say the same about FNAF 3 or Pizza Sim. So let's talk about another area FNAF 2 excels at, the animatronic design. I feel confident in saying there might not be a single bad animatronic design in this game. In fact, I love them so much, I'm going to go through each of the 11 animatronics and what I love about the design on the nights that they appear.
That's a problem.
What I love about Toy Bonnie is that he is the only animatronic who actually has some sort of animation, and I think Toy Bonnie also has the best in-camera poses. Assuming you don't get weird RNG, he should be the first animatronic you encounter, so it's an excellent first impression into the game, and he's a great example of how uncanny cute can be.
Let's go somewhere more private.
I love Toy Chica for various reasons. She loses her beak after leaving the stage, so instead of being an uncanny cute, she's just straight up trying to be scary. And she's the first animatronic you should see in the hall in front of you, so it's likely that when she moves into the hall, that's the first time you experience your flashlight not working as intended.
That game was totally rigged!
My love for Toy Freddy is mainly from UCN, where he actually has a unique mechanic and a funny personality. But you have to remember, before Toy Freddy, every threat from FNAF 1 or 2 came from the sides. Nobody ever came from the front. So seeing that big lumbering dad bod approaching was nerve-wracking, especially if you were caught off guard when he suddenly appeared in your office. Plus, having a Freddy move on night 1 when the previous Freddy wasn't active until night 3 was crazy at the time. The toys were designed as a way to ease you into the new mechanics of the game and to also get you to go, "Oh my god, wow, look at that," the first time you see it, but all 3 of the toys function pretty similarly, so the best way to build upon that is to throw in 3 completely unique animatronics.
Hello? Hi.
Balloon Boy is added in this night, and you may feel inclined to hate him or erase his family from existence, but I feel like him specifically being designed as a non-lethal nuisance is perfect. It encapsulates that childlike need for attention. The propeller cap, the stripy balloon and outfit, the fact that he says something or laughs every time he moves, similar to Freddy in FNAF 1, but this time it's ominous for a different reason, are all reasons why I love Balloon Boy.
It's so much more fun to eat out in here with you.
Speaking of noise, you ever just... I love Mangle because they're just so perfect. The way they're hidden in darkness and you just hear the audio before flashing the light, and then they're just laying there scrambled up on the floor. I love how Scott used the fact that Mangle was the first non-bipedal animatronic to his advantage. He could have used something similar to the Endo and had that walk through each camera towards you, but having Mangle on the ceiling, on the wall, back on the ceiling is amazing. The fact that when you let Mangle into the office, they don't kill you straight away, you have to deal with the consequence of your actions, and maybe, just maybe, the clock will hit 6 AM before you get chomped. I'm still not sure why Mangle has 2 different hallway poses, but it just adds to the flavor of the character, and I love it. Foxy's always been my favorite overall character in the franchise, so it's no surprise one of his iterations is my favorite, but just everything about this character is absolute perfection. Foxy was already cool in FNAF 1, but he got straight up upgraded in FNAF 2. Like, look how cool this motherfucker is when he stands in parts and service. He has his own unique mechanic, which is the only reason why he can't stay in the cameras when an animatronic isn't attacking you. The way he gets slightly closer when Bonnie's in the hall, his dope-ass jump scare that is literally the only jump scare in the game that doesn't have any build-up. He even gets his own death minigame. God, I love this character. The third night's put the toys to bed, and out come Mummy and Daddy. And a walking toilet.
Might as well face the facts. You were always destined to fail.
Withered Bonnie is perhaps the most iconic design to come out of FNAF 2. He's a fan favorite amongst hardcore fans, and even people who have only dipped a toe into the franchise recognize him. Compared to the other Withers, he has the most drastic difference in design from other versions of the character. Like, they legit just stole his face, the poor guy. He has an excellent jump scare where he reaches towards you, his pose in the office is cool, and the fact that he's the main animatronic in focus and parts and service matching his teaser pose is sick. Excellent design, amazing execution. Withered Chica is an interesting one for me because she doesn't have the iconic factor like Withered Bonnie, and also suffers from not being Freddy, you know, the name of the entire franchise. But I still think her design is perfect for what Chica is. The double mouth and no hands is a perfect combo because it's like she can shovel twice as much food into her mouth, except she can't because she has no grippers. Similar to Toy Bonnie, my favourite part of Withered Chica is her camera poses. I just love how she flops over in parts and service when Withered Bonnie leaves.
Pretty sure that's Freddy.
Withered Freddy is funny because he's always giving you mad side-eye, even in your office. I love how they left Withered Freddy mostly intact because it makes the most sense lore-wise. Like, this guy is your mascot, you aren't going to damage him too much, but I love the feeling he gives of always lumbering towards you, plus being a hallway attacker is always a plus. Now, technically, the puppet appears from the get-go on night 1, but then I would have had no one to talk about until night 6, so this is where the puppet is going to go.
The others are under my protection.
Like Withered Foxy, the puppet has an amazing jump scare. Its own unique mechanic is super fucking important to the lore, so I think having the design be so simplistic was a perfect decision. It's the puppet, and that's all the design needs to convey. I also love the juxtaposition with Foxy as having a unique mechanic is cool, but unlike Foxy, who has the least build-up between attack and jump scare, the puppet has the most. You see the orange warning sign go red, and then you hear Pop Goes the Weasel, and you know it's GG's eventually. No one new gets added in Night 5, but I'd just like to point out that Night 5 is the first night that all the animatronics are active, so that's cool. Withered Golden Freddy is the final animatronic in the roster, and a surprise one at that, only being added on Night 6 and 7, and the hype of having the Golden Freddy be an actual enemy instead of an Easter egg works both for and against its design. On the one hand, it's Golden Freddy, and that's so cool and awesome. Surely he has a unique oh, no, you just put the mask on like the rest of them. And on the other hand, making a mysterious character a common foe is great for instant hype, but not that great for longevity. Still, he maintains that sort of ghostly appearance and the overall importance in the lore, only appearing after the night of the missing children's incident, so I'm still using it to perpetuate my idea that FNAF 2 designs remain king. So there you have it, the largest original roster in the FNAF franchise, and all of them hit the exact goal that their design was intended to do. Now let's talk about the last thing that FNAF 2 nailed, the balance between horror and lore. All FNAF games have an aspect of lore to them, even simple ones like Ultimate Custom Night, but most of the games struggle to make the lore feel as horrifying as the game themselves. FNAF 1 was minimalist in both, tiny lore references and simple gameplay, but it worked for the game FNAF 1 was trying to be. FNAF 3 expanded the lore beyond what we could have expected, but at the cost of the game being not that scary. FNAF 4 went the opposite direction, trying to spook you as much as it could with its audio-based gameplay, but the lore left something to be desired. Sister Location, great suspense within the gameplay itself was, something. Pizza Sim, fantastic if not convoluted lore, scary, not so much. FNAF 2, however, scary, iconic sound design that stretched beyond the fanbase, and the way the lore is integrated into the gameplay, the death minigame spelling out the lore, whilst they leave you feeling uneasy with the robotic voice in the background, most of them ending in a jump scare, the fact that you don't really know that this is a prequel until you get your payslip from completing the first 5 nights, and then after on night 6, the phone guy's frantic voice call alluding to the murder of the children and setting us up for the next day where we assume the bite of 87 happened. It's a wonderful blend of wanting to know what the mystery is while simultaneously being scared of what's around the next corner that no other game in the franchise does. If you couldn't tell already, I love FNAF 2. Always have, always will, and I hope you can see why, and maybe I've convinced you to love the game yourself. Since my friend Jet gifted me all these FNAF games over a year ago, I've now played, recorded, scripted, and uploaded them to YouTube. If you haven't already, feel free to check out the other videos about the other games, because wow, what a year and a bit it's been. I didn't know this is where the series would go, but I'm super proud of what I've done, and I have all of you to thank. I'm still a bad editor, but I've loved every second of creating these videos and sharing with you guys. And you may be wondering where I'll go from here. Well, I have no idea, to be honest. I still have one video in mind left for FNAF, but beyond that, if you guys have any suggestions for games you'd like to see me play and talk about, I'm not doing Kingdom Hearts yet, go fuck yourself.
You're stupid!
I'd love to hear them. It doesn't even have to be horror, but until then...